Sis, burnout doesn't always look like collapsing. Sometimes it looks like functioning so well that nobody realizes that you're actually falling apart. This is the story of the moment my body told me, if you don't slow down, I'm going to make you. And how choosing softness, not hustle, saved my health, my joy, and honestly, my legacy. Stay tuned. I'm going to teach you the lessons I learned on my journey to reversing prediabetes. Welcome to the secret formula of femininity for women who want to live a more feminine, fun, and fabulous life. I'm Dr. Nicole Montero, your host on this weekly journey to unlocking your inner radiance, nurturing fulfilling relationships, and becoming the best version of yourself. Welcome back, everybody, to the secret formula of femininity. This is the space where we rewrite the rules for women who are done living in survival mode and ready to experience softness, boundaries, joy, and the wholeness of womanhood. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole, psychologist, coach, mom, global traveler, and your guide on this journey to tapping into your feminine essence. And this is season 3, where we're going to dig deeper and pull back the veil. And that's why today's episode is deeply personal, because I'm taking you behind the curtain into my own personal health wake up call. It was the day that I found out I was pre diabetic. And it wasn't because of food, lack of knowledge, not even because of genetics, even though it ran in my family, but because I was burnt out, stressed out, and too busy being strong, like so many of us have been taught to. And I want to walk you through what happened, what I felt, what changed, and how I reversed it with what I call my soft health method. So let's go. I call this part of the story the day my body screamed at me. I remember the day so clearly because it feels like I was in a movie. It was one of those mornings where the air just felt heavy even before I got out of bed. I had stayed up late the night before. I was finishing notes, answering an email from a colleague, scrolling on my phone way too long, telling myself, I'll rest after this week, after this next big meeting coming up, after just one more thing. And you know, those are the lies that we tell ourselves, ladies. We tell ourselves when we're powered by adrenaline instead of alignment that we'll do it when we finish. But that morning, the sun wasn't even fully up yet. The house was still pretty quiet, except the kids wrestling around as they started to get up. And my husband asked me, Did you sleep okay? How did you really sleep? And I said the same thing that I had been accustomed to saying. Oh, I'm fine, just a little tired. But I actually wasn't fine, and my body knew it. I hadn't eaten breakfast until much later, and this was becoming my habit. I was running on coffee yet again, and I was rushing out the door. On the way to the doctor's appointment, I told myself, oh, this is just routine. I'm healthy. I know what to do. This is just my annual checkup. That was the psychologist in me talking. But the woman in me, just Nicole, the tired woman, the stressed woman, the over functioning woman, she was whispering a different tune. She was like, this pace is not sustainable. Now, the moment everything shifted in me is when I went in for that routine checkup after some routine blood work. There were no red flags, there were no symptoms, things that I was complaining about. It was just a checkup. But when the nurse walked in with the results and said the doctor wanted to talk to me, it was in that calm professional tone where you knew something was deeper than what was being said. And when he came in, he said, Your A1C is elevated. You're in the pre-diabetic range. I literally felt my chest drop. My first emotion was shock, like someone had spoken a sentence that was meant for somebody else, certainly not Nicole Montero, not me. Then, right behind the shock, came something heavier, something that I had been accustomed to helping clients with. It was shame. Not because I did something wrong, but because as a psychologist, a healer, a teacher, I was supposed to know better. Listen, I'm the one that teaches about stress. I teach about wellness. I help women to come out of burnout. I help them to reconnect to their bodies. And here I was, a woman who looked fine on the outside, but who was actually running on fumes on the inside. The doctor kept talking numbers, ranges, what are the next steps? Don't panic, it's okay. But my mind was actually going in slow motion. I heard my own voice in my head saying, Nicole, what are you doing to yourself? In the car, I sat with that disappointment. I sat inside, closed the door, and just stared at the steering wheel. I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I usually didn't do those things. But I just sat there in silence, and it felt like I was having a mirror being held up to me. I realized in that moment that my life had become a cycle that I didn't even know I was in. It was pushing, overworking, overthinking, saying yes, managing everyone else's needs, surviving on caffeine and adrenaline, taking care of clients, taking care of kids, taking care of responsibilities, and leaving myself for last every single time. And I told myself the truth. Being strong is costing you your health. It's eating you from the inside out. My body is telling me something that I can't ignore, I said to myself. And I also thought, this is not who I want to be for my kids or my husband, or more importantly, for myself. Because I'm raising children, girl children, they're watching me. They're watching what womanhood looks like. They're not listening to me, they're watching and emulating what I do. And in that moment, I felt a wave of clarity come over me. Stress was literally changing my body chemistry. Burnout was rewriting my body, and hustle culture was killing parts of me that I hadn't even noticed were dying or that were in crisis. I remember putting my hand over my chest and saying quietly but firmly, this stops here. Not tomorrow, not after the next deadline, not after a trip or the next big thing, but right here, right now, and today. In that moment, I promised myself that I would heal with softness, not struggle. I would honor this body that has carried me through everything, and I would make space for joy, nourishment, movement, and more importantly, rest. I would stop wearing exhaustion like this cape or badge of honor, and I would create a life that loved me back. And that moment became the beginning of my transformation. It was that little moment that shifted everything. When I got home that evening, my daughter came up and she was like, Mommy, are you okay? You know, these kids, they are so perceptive. I hugged her a little bit longer and I just told her, Yes, baby, but mommy's going to have to start taking better care of herself, even better care than you think I'm doing right now. My husband looked at me in that way that he does, that knowing way where he doesn't have to say a lot. And he was just like, I knew something was off, but I didn't want to push you, but we're going to handle it. It was those small family moments that helped to ground me. And it reminded me of my why my health journey was so important. And it made me realize that my softness isn't just for me, it's a gift to my entire household. And that was the day I decided to live differently. So I want to share the exact framework that I use, the one that helped me to reverse prediabetes, to lose weight, to build muscle, to regulate my nervous system, and to step into a softer, healthier version of myself. I call it my three-part soft health approach. I used to teach it as the 3M formula, but this soft health approach really captures what it means. And it begins with nourishment. I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine a version of yourself who wakes up not in a rushed state, not irritated, not exhausted before the day even starts, but a version that wakes up nourished, rested, supported, and aligned. That version of you absolutely exists. And it's not 5 years away. It's not after your kids graduate, not after things at work slow down, and it's not after you finally get it all together. This version of you becomes real through consistent, feminine, soft choices. And this is the approach that saved my health and restored my joy and took me out of prediabetes. And I'm going to give it to you step by step. Part one is nourishment. You have to learn to eat like a soft woman. If burnout is the fire, nourishment is the extinguishing water. And when I say nourishment, I don't mean dieting. That is absolutely damaging. I don't mean punishing yourself, And I certainly don't mean that cycle of restriction, guilt, and then indulgence. I mean feeding your body from love, not fear. Nourishment is feminine because it's about receiving, letting your body receive support instead of deprivation, letting your body receive what it needs. Let me tell you the first rule of soft nourishment is that a soft woman eats before the world takes from her. She pours in before she gives out. For years, I had done the opposite. I ran on coffees, lattes, and optimism. I used to tell myself, I'll eat after this meeting. I'll eat after I finish with this client. I'll eat when I get a moment. But those minutes or those moments never came. And women who care for others know that they rarely find the time. We make time or we go without. So my first shift was simple but life changing. I started eating breakfast every single day, and I still do. A real breakfast, not some sugary cereal or pastry. Things that stabilize you like protein, fiber, and healthy fat. A meal that stabilizes blood sugar instead of spiking it. Some days it would be eggs and avocado. Other days it would be Greek yogurt and berries. Sometimes it was a balanced smoothie with greens and all kinds of goodies in it. But I stopped treating food like an inconvenience that I didn't have time for. I started treating it like medicine. And let me tell you something, when your blood sugar stabilizes, your whole life feels different. Your mood starts to steady, your cravings will disappear, your thinking gets clearer, all of that brain fog goes away, and your energy becomes sustainable, not these spikes before and after meals. Your body actually stops panicking and your femininity softens. You go from fight or flight to feed and breed mode. The second rule is to eat to sustain your energy, not to shrink your body. I had to ask myself, what foods make me feel alive and supported and steady? I started doubling my protein. I increased my fiber to feel fuller. I added greens to almost everything, every meal, and I drank even more water. I ended up reducing the foods that threw me off balance, like processed foods, sugary foods. And it wasn't out of guilt, but it was out of love for myself. Because this nourished, feminine, grounded woman needed fuel, not punishment. Now I want you to imagine the same for yourself, feeding the woman you're becoming, not starving her. The third rule was cook more, sit down more, and breathe more. Nourishment isn't just about the actual food, but it's the whole energy surrounding it. So I started sitting down for meals, not just scraping by on my kids' leftovers. One of my dietitians told me, you deserve to honor yourself with your own plate, not your kids' leftovers. So I had my own meals. I would cook something, even if it was quick, even if it was imperfect. I put my phone away and I just let myself exhale as I sat down to eat. And I learned to enjoy what I was eating. As I did that, I felt my nervous system start to regulate before I even finished the meal. I was eating slowly and I realized that I felt so feminine, so at ease. Being present is feminine. Tasting your food and loving it is feminine. Allowing pleasure is feminine. This is the nourishment that you need. It's not just about nutrition, it's the whole energy. Now, I want to tell you the second big shift that I made. I stopped working out like I was punishing myself, like this grueling thing that I had to do, and I started moving like I loved myself. Movement became an act of devotion for me, not an act of desperation. I'm going to walk you through the different phases of how I changed it. One was I embraced short, powerful, consistent movement. I started with 10-minute post meal walks. 10 minutes, that's it. If you take nothing else from this, I want you to hear me. Walk for 10 minutes after you eat. Each meal, each time you eat, walk for 10 minutes. It lowers your blood sugar, it improves your insulin sensitivity, it helps your digestion, and it calms your mind. It's a full 360. It also helps you to build consistency. It's the one soft habit that is stronger than 1,000 perfect full circuit workouts. The second thing I did was build muscle. I did it slowly, intentionally, and there's that word again, consistently. I added strength training at a pace that honored my body. I wasn't running to the gym just to tear some ligaments and get all sore. It was 2 to 3 times a week at the gym or my home gym. And it was light to moderate weights, and I used the Life Fitness app to stay structured and consistent. I focused on form, not extremes, not burning myself out, and not toxic fitness culture. And guess what? My body changed without me forcing it. My energy improved, my curves started curving, I felt stable, confident, and grounded, and my skin got so clear. And I realized that strength is feminine. Being supported by your muscles is feminine, and holding your body with ease is feminine. And the third thing is, I ask myself daily, what kind of movement feels good today? I wasn't in the I have to do this mode, but I was like, what would feel good right now? Sometimes it was stretching before bed. Sometimes it was a longer walk with my husband. Sometimes it was dancing in the kitchen with my kids or putting on a Zumba video. And sometimes it was that tougher body weight circuit. But movement became joyful, not rigid and not forced. Because a soft woman doesn't whip herself into movement, she invites movement into her life in a consistent, sustainable way. So, part three of the framework is restoration. This is the most feminine part of the whole journey, and it's the piece that most women ignore until their body forces them to stop, like mine did. Luckily, I caught it in time. Restoration is what changed everything for me, literally everything. So these are some of the most powerful shifts I made. One was that sleep became sacred. I stopped treating it like it was a luxury or something I had to earn. I treated it like a prescription. A soft woman doesn't apologize for going to bed early. She doesn't brag about being so exhausted and so tired. She doesn't glorify sleeplessness and hustle. I realized that I needed sleep to heal my hormones. It helped me to balance my cravings, it lowered my stress, and it changed my blood work, my lab work. It makes you feel feminine again, more supple, receptive, and emotionally available, more energized, and more at ease in your body. The second thing is I created space between tasks. I stopped sprinting through the day multitasking. I practiced what I call the soft pause, which I usually talk about in the context of communication, but I implemented it throughout my life. Before the meeting, pause. After the call, pause. Before cooking, pause. Before responding to a text, pause. Just breathe through it. Take a moment, a deceleration. And that itself, that pause helped to signal safety to my nervous system. Again, taking me out of fight or flight, putting me into feed and breed. When your nervous system feels safe, your body stops going into attack mode and eating itself. And when your nervous system feels safe, your body stops going into attack mode. The third thing is I learned to say no without guilt. I literally became the boundaries queen. This was huge for me. I had to realize that soft women have boundaries because boundaries is what protects their softness. I stopped volunteering for every single thing at my kids' school. I stopped overcommitting. I stopped taking on work I didn't have the capacity for. And I stopped saying I'll handle it when I didn't want to or I just knew I couldn't. This alone lowered my stress so deeply that I started to feel it physically. My shoulders dropped and were more relaxed. My jaw was unclenched. My breath deepened. My dentist even noticed when I was getting fitted for Invisalign. He was like, "It doesn't look like you're clenching your teeth at night like I used to observe on your x rays." Now that's deep, right? Like he could literally see it in my teeth. The fourth thing is I gave myself permission to rest without earning it. I didn't wait until I was exhausted or until the weekend, until I had done this full checklist of things I thought I needed to do. I didn't wait until everything was complete. I rested because I'm a human being. I rested because I'm a woman with a finite nervous system. And I rested because rest is restorative. It's not indulgent and it's not lazy. And at that moment, when I internalized that, my entire approach to life softened. I realized that softness is the key to healing and restoration, not hustle, not grind, not harshness. If you take anything from today's episode and teaching, Let it be this: softness isn't weakness at all. Softness is actually medicine. It's how your body heals, and it's how you begin to unravel burnout. It's also how you begin to return to your feminine natural state. So just sit with that, hold that. Now I want to move into some real questions, the kind of things that women DM me about, email me about, or just confess in coaching sessions. Because you're not alone in this. That's the number one thing I want you to know. And the practical answers to how you get over some of these challenges actually matter. These are the kinds of questions that women always ask me when we start talking about burnout, health, softness, and healing. So I chose a few that I know will resonate deeply. Question one is, Nicole, how do I start eating better when I'm overwhelmed, busy, or inconsistent? Listen, let me tell you the truth. You don't start by overhauling the whole system, tearing everything down, and trying to rebuild. You start by stabilizing one thing. And that one thing, if I would be honest with you, is breakfast. A soft woman does not starve herself until noon. She doesn't say, I'm not hungry, I just don't feel like eating. She doesn't let the day drain her before she nourishes herself. She begins with a simple protein rich breakfast every day. It could be Greek yogurt and berries, eggs and greens and avocado, a protein smoothie, or oatmeal with chia and some flaxseed. You can switch it up with some chicken sausage and fruit. What matters most is consistency, not the perfect meal every morning. Your hormones will start to shift, your cravings will start to shift, and your blood sugar will stabilize. Your mood improves, your skin improves, your energy improves. That's because breakfast is the gateway to an entire lifestyle shift. So you can start there, okay? Question two is, I want to exercise, but I don't have the time. What can I do? Sis, I need you to hear me. You don't need 60 minutes. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need an elaborate routine. What you need is movement momentum. These are small movements that build big results. It's the consistency. The most life changing habit you can start right now is to walk. Walk for 7 to 10 minutes after each meal. Not power walking, not sweating, just pure movement and consistency. This alone can start to lower your blood sugar, improve your insulin sensitivity, and help with weight management. It's going to boost your mood, reduce stress, and improve digestion. And the best thing is it builds discipline without grind and hustle. If you add up 7 to 10 minutes after 2 to 3 meals per day, you're already close to 30 minutes of movement without even realizing it. From there, if you can add 2 strength workouts per week, you are going to be in a very sweet spot. But if not, the walks are still going to transform your health, and you'll get to the weight training at a later date. Question number three is, how do I stop feeling guilty about resting? I know this one probably hits every woman, right? As they say, that part. Because we've been conditioned to believe that rest must be earned. I want to reframe it for you though. Rest isn't a luxury, it's not a reward, it's not optional. It's actually biological maintenance that's been embedded in us over millennia. It's something that through evolution has never changed. Your hormones need it, your brain needs it, your blood sugar needs it, your emotional stability needs it, and your femininity needs it. Cut that guilt that you have comes from the conditioning that we've been under, not the truth. When I started resting unapologetically, my entire family benefited. My kids got a calmer, sweeter mother. My husband got a warmer, more energetic wife in more ways than one. And my clients got a more grounded therapist. My body ended up getting the healing that it deserved. And I realized that rest is an act of leadership. It's an act of self respect, and it's an act that will enhance your femininity. So release the guilt. You don't need the guilt anymore. What you need is rest and restoration. Question four is, what if the people around me won't support my new habits? All right, this is a good one because women, we fear disappointing others. That's often why we don't change. Change is hard, but when we realize that we don't have to wait for anyone's permission, that we are the ones that give permission to ourselves, things can shift. You don't need permission, but you do need clarity. And you can say things to those around you like, I'm eating earlier now. I'm taking a 10-minute walk. I'll be right back. I'm going to bed at 10 tonight. I'm choosing meals that support my health, not that make me feel drained and tired. You don't have to justify your healing. You can just simply communicate it. You don't have to explain those boundaries, and you certainly don't need an audience to approve your transformation. People are going to adjust, they always do. And if someone has a problem with you being healthier, happier, softer, more grounded, and more whole, then that says more about them than it does about you. Question 5 is, how long did it take you to reverse your prediabetes? Here's the truth, it did not happen overnight, but within 6 to 8 weeks, I started noticing real changes. My energy levels were higher, I had less brain fog, my moods were noticeably more stable, my sleep was better, no more 3 a.m. wake ups, my cravings were lower, my workouts were better, and I had a feeling of less inflammation. And within a few months, my labs changed. My A1C was going down, my good cholesterol was going up, my blood pressure was stellar. My health was slowly but surely coming back to me. And it wasn't through punishment or hustle or these extremes that I took on. It was literally through having a soft approach, through being consistent, and through having a lifestyle that supported, not fought against, my nervous system. I just want you to know that your body wants you to heal. It's craving it. It just needs the conditions to do so. And while it might not happen overnight, consistency makes it build and accumulate. I love those questions. Thank you so much. Before we close, I want to speak directly to the version of you who's listening to this with tears in her eyes, or a lump in her throat, or a sense of conviction rising in her chest. Burnout is not a personal failure. It's a cultural wound, it's a system wound, and it's a societal expectation wound that is pulling us down. But guess what? You are allowed to opt out. You do not have to stay in it. You are allowed to rewrite the script, and you're allowed to choose softness, even if you were raised on struggle. Let me tell you what I realized that day back in the car. Healing is not complicated, it's quite simple. It's just consistent. Health isn't extreme at all, it's intentional. And softness is not weak, it's wise. And you know what? Your body is beautiful, intelligent, and resilient. She's been waiting for you to choose her. The soft health method is not a plan, it's more of a promise to yourself. A promise that says, I am going to nourish you to your body and your whole being. I'm going to move with you and I'm going to rest with you. I'm going to stop abandoning you. I'm not going to apologize for needing care, and I'm not going to hustle myself into an early grave. I'm going to live soft and live well because it's my birthright. If this episode spoke to your spirit, if it stirred something in you, if you felt seen, understood, or if you felt inspired, I want you to join me in the upcoming Banish Burnout and Build Bliss Masterclass. It's the deeper level teaching behind everything that you heard today. It's where we take your boundaries, nervous system communication, feminine energy, and daily habits and create a lifestyle that supports the woman that you are truly becoming. The link is in the show notes. I want you to join us. You owe it to yourself. Give yourself permission to pour into your soft, healthy, restored life that's waiting for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, for listening to my story, and letting me share the ways that I was able to shift. Thank you for being part of this movement and this podcast and this community. We are a movement of women choosing softness in a world that celebrates hardness. Now that we're in season 3, we're going to go deeper. We're going to pull back the curtain on what it takes to heal, to restore, to have healthy relationships, and to be the soft, feminine woman that you deserve to be. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next episode. I'm Dr. Nicole.